Knowledge about the internal combustion engine and mechanical knowledge in general is extremely important in day-to-day life. It doesn't matter who you are and where you are. There is a massive importance for a knowledge of mechanics. I've already talked about how Nitro RC is massively important for children growing up. I've talked about when I was young, and well before I was young, before I was even a thought, engines were invented. And a few decades, more than a few decades, a lot of decades, after the internal combustion engine was invented, glow engines, nitro engines were invented. And people were able to buy them, little mini engines with little mini pistons and liners and bearings and conrods and crankshafts and flywheels and clutches and all sorts of things, and take it up as a hobby. Children could get a hold of one, their parents could buy them one, and they could learn about mechanics, which means they could mend their own cars. And then came along the Petrol RC car. The petrol engine was invented a long time before Nitro. Don't ask me for the exact dates because I simply don't know. But I do know they're massively important. Petrol RC is just as important as Nitro. Nitro is a very easy hobby to get into and to just have a lot of fun with. But as I've said before, when you're having fun doing something, it sticks in your head more than if you're just doing it because you have to. So, having a hobby, and Nitro RC and Petrol RC, 1/5 scale, not always 1/5 scale. A lot of people just think that 1/5 scale describes all petrol RC cars. Well, it kind of does, but there are other scales. There was even a 1/8 buggy with a petrol engine in it that Losi made a long time ago, and they don't make it anymore. But they were bloody good buggies. If I can get hold of one, I will try to get hold of one, and we can have one and have a look at one. But we'll talk about proper petrol ones for now. Little mini petrol engines. 26cc, 29cc, some are a little bit smaller, some are bigger. You can get 45, 70cc petrol engines in these RC cars. They normally come standard out the box with about 26, 29cc, 30cc, somewhere around there. Basically a strimmer engine, one that you'll find on a strimmer, bolted to the end of a strimmer or a hedge cutter or something of that description. If you've got one of these petrol engines or a nitro car, a petrol RC car or a nitro RC car, as a kid, you will grasp a basic and sometimes more than basic knowledge of how an engine works. But you don't just learn about engines. With both of these, petrol and nitro, you learn about differentials. You learn about electrics for the gear electrics for the gear. No, you don't. You learn about electrics for the receivers and the servos. You learn about diffs for and the gear ratios and all that kind of stuff. I knew what I wanted to say, it just come out in the wrong order. So you learn about how important it is to keep an air filter clean with an engine, how important it is to keep your engine lubricated, how important it is to keep them maintained. Now that, as you grow up, as your children grow up, will help them no end. When I was a bit younger than I am at the moment, me and two friends was really into cars. We was into drifting, and we're just into cars. We left school, we were into cars a lot. And we always said, one day, we want to open up, we want to have our own garage. We want to repair people's cars for a living, as a business. And we want to make it successful. And so we spent, after work, we're sort of 15, 16, and then obviously we left school and went into work, college for a little while, and then went to work. And we always spent after work working on our cars, BMW E36, Mark 1 Focus RS I had, Citroen Saxos and that, rebuilding engines, putting things on, throttle bodies, carburetors, injection, exhausts, this, that, clutches, whatever. And we said, the three of us, we want to open up a business. So we got a little garage. Yeah, we loved cars. We'd learned a lot. I'd learned a lot from these as a kid and from motorbikes as well. And we done that. Between the three of us, it was a little bit unequal because I was always on a full-time job, but that's not important at this stage. We had a garage and we opened up a garage and it was great. But that taught me a lesson, which I already knew, but I learned more about this particular thing, and that was people waste their money. They waste their money because simple things, what anybody should be able to do, takes 10, 15 or 20 minutes depending on what type of car. An oil change, oil and filters. Go to a garage, could be £50, could be £100 or more. If you go to a main dealer, you're looking at £200-300 just for a service. Yeah, or more than that in some cases. Takes you 10 or 15 minutes. All you got to do, warm your engine up, drop your oil out, drop the filter out, put a new filter on, put some oil, put the sump plug back, put some oil in it, run it up, check the level, job done. Saved yourself a good at least £50 or probably more if you go to a garage. And the inconvenience of losing your car for a whole day or more, or half a day, some cases 1 or 2 days. You could do that in 10-15 minutes on the driveway on a Sunday morning, job done, car is maintained. Every 3,000 miles, Bob's your uncle. But the amount of people that just don't know how to do that. So they're just wasting money. So many things. Even a basic knowledge with mechanics that you can get from a hobby as a child or as an adult. I mean, you may be 20 or 25 years old now and thinking to yourself, I wish I knew a bit more about mechanics. Get yourself a Nitro car or a Petrol RC car and you'll learn without even realising that you're learning. And you'll learn everything that you'll need to know to just get through daily life. I mean, it's not just about repairing your car or motorbike, is it? And saving yourself money in the process. A lot of people, there's a lot of things in life that if people knew how to do themselves, they would save themselves a lot of money and they'd be a lot better off, both financially and just in general. Electrics. You learn about electrics, you will learn about electrics with an electric RC car, but a Nitro and a petrol one gives you a lot more because you learn about electrics and about engines. And as we've already discussed, engines are a massively important thing to learn about. Imagine you or your child, say your child may be 10 or younger now, you give them a Nitro car or a Petrol RC car to play around with and they love it, they learn a lot of stuff. They grow up, 17 years old, get themselves a real car, pass their driving test, they're driving around. It breaks down in a nice, inconvenient but perfectly safe place because they've got the knowledge which they've learned from the hobby that you gave to them. They know how an engine works and they recognise the signs, the spluttering. That seemed to me like a starvation problem. It sputtered. It didn't just stop as if the ignition had stopped. There was a sputtering, bob, 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 and then it died. Must be a fuel problem. Alright. And they have a look at the fuel filter at the side of the road, the petrol filter, and realise it was blocked. They clean it out, tap it out on the side of the road, put it back, car starts up, and they can get to the car auto factors to get a new filter. Not only have they got themselves off the side of the road because they've known how to temporarily unblock a petrol filter or a diesel filter, could be diesel. They've got to the shop, got a new filter for about £8, fitted it, saved themselves a lot of money and inconvenience, and they're not stranded at the side of the road calling up a recovery company or the AA, paying hundreds and hundreds of pounds just to be recovered while being stuck at the side of the road in danger. A knowledge on mechanics is always massively overlooked. No one seems to care about it because a car is just a piece of metal that gets you from A to B. You don't need to care about it, and when you do need to care about it, just throw a garage some money and they'll do it for you, and you haven't got to think about it. It's a bad way of life and a bad attitude to life. Getting your child a Nitro or a Petrol RC car is probably one of the best things you could do for them. But there's more. I know, you can't believe it, can you? There is more. Not only do they teach everything that I've just explained without them even realising that they're learning so, they also teach patience and discipline, coordination, because you need to coordinate the carburettor in order for it to run well enough. So your child or you will learn about air fuel ratios, mixtures and things like that, how to properly or just play around with, but you'll learn how to balance that carburettor, because the carburettor on both of these are the same, but a petrol one has diaphragms inside in order to work, whereas a nitro carburettor is very, very simple. There is nothing to them. They're the most easiest carburettor there is. And then you move on to petrol. Nitro ones have no diaphragms, no nothing, simply have at least one needle, sometimes 3 or 2. That is it. That's how they meter. The petrol one has a couple of diaphragms, flap around, do their thing to suck in a bit of petrol now and again. They work in different ways, but the principle is still there. You have needles, or jets as they're called with petrol. In nitro we tend to call them needles. In petrol we call them jets. Mixture screws. They do the same thing, but for some reason on the different things they have different names. You have high, low and a tick over. Exactly the same on both. So you learn coordination and hearing. How does the engine sound? Looking. How is the engine looking? You can tell whether an engine's rich or lean by how it looks. I know it might sound balmy, but you can. I can guarantee you, if you was to show me an engine running, with the sound as well obviously, but don't show me the exhaust so I can't see the amount of smoke coming out, I can tell you whether it's rich or lean. But you'll also learn how to tell from the amount of smoke. It's just so many things that you learn about coordination and mixture. Discipline as well, because if you do things arguably properly with a nitro engine, after you've ran it, you should take the glow plug out and stick a bit of after run oil or 3-in-1 oil or some kind of oil down that hole to lubricate this liner and the piston. Because they run at such high RPMs, there's a lot of friction, a lot of heat, and the materials that they're made from, they can benefit from being lubed up after they've been ran. I've never really done that, but it's the case of don't do what I do, just do as I say. You learn a bit of discipline. Your child will learn a bit of discipline if they can do that every time they've ran their nitro engine. And they can check the nuts and bolts. Really, on a petrol and a nitro, nuts and bolts, screws, etc. should be checked either after you've ran it or before you run it next, because they do vibrate loose. I don't do that, And I dare say most people probably don't check them as often as they should. That's why we lose them all the time. But your child will learn a bit of discipline in what they need to do, which will help them in future life. You know, discipline in work, get a really good job, discipline in school if they're still in school, because you know there's certain things what you have to do, and if they learn that with this, it's a hobby. It doesn't really matter if they don't do it, but they learn the discipline. And patience. They'll definitely learn patience, because sometimes an engine just doesn't want to run very well. Some people, particularly these days where we're living in a world of energy drinks and sugar, people's patience is very, very short. Sugar is a very bad thing for that, and children are allowed to just eat and drink copious amounts of it these days, which means their patience goes out the window. Getting your child a Nitro or a petrol car will definitely help them learn patience, even if you do allow them to eat a lot of sugar. Furthermore, I know, this just keeps going. There's so many good things that can come out of a Nitro car or a petrol RC car. It can work into a successful career. As I've just explained earlier on about, well, I haven't got the garage anymore because I sold my third of it to my two friends, and then it became one friend, but that's beside the point. I decided I wanted to pursue a career driving heavy plant, which requires a lot of mechanical knowledge because, well, bulldozers and diggers and screeners and everything else, it's a bit like Gold Rush really, you know. You need a bit of mechanical knowledge. I can tell whether a bulldozer is running right or there's something wrong with it just from sitting in the seat. And your child could as well. If they're young and they've got a mechanical knowledge and they're interested in it as well, they might spring up and decide, I want to start my own business with a car garage. They can be very successful when done right. They might decide that they want to be an F1 mechanic, a plant fitter. They can earn a lot of money. They might decide that they want to do something different. They might start their own business, and they might go on to make their own brand of car, for goodness sake. They might decide that they want to pursue a career with their own business or with an existing company as an engine builder. You know, they might want to be a mobile mechanic, get themselves a van, go to college, learn mechanics properly, and go and do mobile mechanics. They can earn a lot of money. Listen, they might even decide that they want to be an electrician from learning the electric side of RC cars, and it might spur on to them being a very successful electrician. There's so many benefits from Nitro and Petrol RC. I can't even explain them all. It will take me a long time. I think it'll be one of the best things that you could ever do for your children. Getting them a stable, sturdy hobby which is full of benefits, full of opportunities. They may even decide they want to open up their own shop selling Nitro cars and petrol cars. Done right, that could be very successful. Done wrong, obviously not. You never know. There's so many opportunities. At the very worst case scenario, your child is going to have a great childhood running around with a Nitro or a petrol car, and they're going to have some great memories with some knowledge that they've built up. Even if it doesn't pursue for them, they might become a lawyer. At least they'll be able to change their own oil in their own car and save themselves some money that way, and just have the satisfaction of doing it rather than paying a garage which probably doesn't know what it's doing anyway these days. I'll catch you lot later on. There's plenty more things to talk about with Nitro and petrol RC cars, and if you like this sort of thing, think about sticking around on this channel, because my goal for the end of the year 2025 is to reach 10,000 subscribers. If you can help me get there, I'll be massively grateful. And to all the channel members, thank you for being a channel member. You help me out massively. If you would like to be a channel member, you can click on the join button next to the subscribe button. You subscribe and then press join. And that will help me massively. My goal is to help as many people as possible discover the joys and the benefits of Nitro RC cars and Petrol RC cars. Because we're living in the world where electric are taking over. I'll catch you later on. All the best. Please comment and let me know where you are in the world. And have you bought your children Nitro or Petrol cars? And did you have them when you was a child? Maybe you are a child now watching this. Have you got one? Would you like one? Have your parents got one? Put one on your Christmas list if you haven't. You never know what Father Christmas might bring you. That's another sad thing. Many children don't believe in Father Christmas anymore. Unbelievable. I've seen him. I swear I have. Cheerio.